Women are waiting to be approached, you're just doing it wrong. My name is Gus Olsen. I've been approaching women in multiple countries for over 13 years, and in this video, I'll show you what doing it right actually looks like, and once you get this right, you'll be surprised of how much women actually like being approached. So mistake number one that guys make with approaching women is approaching with fear. A few years ago, I was training kickboxing in Madrid. And there was a guy that came to the sparring session, and he was so afraid to not get punched. He was literally just flinching, not to get punched. That's, ironically, it was very easy to punch him because there was no offense. And that's how guys go in and talk to girls. They just go in with this attitude and with this fear of, hey, what are you drinking? How's it going today, guys? Good music, right? So, where are you from? They just have this massive fear and anxiety, and they worry more on how not to get rejected, how not to get embarrassed, rather than thinking about how to have a great fucking interaction, how to have a great time, and how to just create a good connection. And of course, when you think about those things, just like that boxing guy getting punched in the face, you will get rejected. You will get embarrassed because what you worry about actually usually happens. If you think about how not to get rejected, you'll get rejected. If you think about how to have a great conversation, you will have a great conversation. And so the most important thing you need to develop when you go talk to girls is to develop confidence in yourself and your ability to handle that moment. And you might say, well, I'm just not a confident person. But are you not? If you drive, you have a driving license, you're probably quite confident when you're driving, right? Because you've driven probably many times. Now, how was your driving the first time? When you were driving the first time, you were most likely worrying about how not to crash or how not to make a wrong move, and you're overthinking every move. But because when you drive again and again, it becomes sort of automatic. And it's the same thing with women. You're not gonna get confident by watching this video, by watching more videos on how to flirt with girls or approach videos. You're only gonna get that confidence by repeated exposure to women and by actually going in and talking to them in real life. That's the only way. It's the only way. And that's exactly why I created the community of Approach Mastery. We in that community go outside live on the call with me, yours truly, and approach women multiple times a week. I give you different exercises that you can practice live on that call, and you just get that exposure again and again. And best thing is that the first call is completely for free, so you can try it at no risk. Just click the link below, join it, and try it with no risk. Mistake number two that guys make when talking to women is they're not showing intent, or they're afraid to show intent. Imagine that you go in and you talk to a girl and things are going extremely well. You're talking for 20 minutes and you think, man, this is just going really good. I might have a date here. And then in 20 minutes, she tells you that she has a boyfriend. How would you feel? You'd probably feel quite disappointed. And then you'd wonder to yourself, well, why didn't she tell me this before? And the reason that she didn't tell you this before is because you're not showing intent. That's exactly what was happening to one of my students that I was coaching in France. He was great at talking to people in general. He was very interesting, very charismatic, but he was too afraid to show intent. And multiple times he would go in and have a great intellectual conversation with a girl about something that was happening in the country or something that was just interesting to him or interesting to the girl, but there was no intent. He wasn't showing that he was attracted to that girl. And what happens is when you are afraid to show intent, a girl can see that. And what she recognizes is that you are too afraid to show your desires. You are too afraid to say what you want. And that's not very attractive at all to women. And hence, a lot of times, they'll either have a polite conversation with you, and at the end of that conversation, they'll reject you, or they'll just have a very brief conversation and they'll just leave as soon as they recognize that you're just too afraid to show your desires. So you have to train this, again, like we talked about the previous example. If you're too afraid to show intent, go and give 30 compliments to women that you don't know and practice expressing intent. Hey, I like your dress. Hey, I like the way you walk. You walk with quite a good confidence. You should keep it up. Practice giving them these compliments. And again, with exposure, not with watching videos, but with exposure, you will be able to improve that muscle of, hey, I'm okay to show intent. I'm okay to show desire. And if they reject me, that's fine. That's okay, but you learn to deal with that fear. And it works because that student that I was telling you about, once he started implementing this in more detail, just in a few weeks, he got a date, and on that day, he kissed the girl. Because he didn't change anything else, just he learned to show a bit more intent. So if you do that, if your conversations right now are just platonic and they're just dying at some point, probably a big part of that is that you're just not showing intent. And if you can fix that, it'll make a massive difference. And reason number 3 why women don't like being approached is when guys are just way too serious. Now, most guys approach women and talk to women like it's some sort of work conversation or work discussion. Hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a teacher. Oh, okay. Do you like that? Yeah, I like that quite a lot. Oh, that's interesting. What else do you do? I go to the gym. Oh, nice. And do you like gym? When you have logical conversations like this, you're not going to get very far because they're going to get bored, and most likely you're going to get bored as well, and it's not going to go anywhere. And one of the big mistakes guys make is they think a conversation with a girl is exchange of information, but it's not exchange of information. It's exchange of emotions. You're trying to incite some sort of emotions in the girl. And obviously you want to have positive emotions of excitement, of surprise, not these emotions of fear or awkwardness. And the way to do that is you need to have playful conversation. And a playful conversation, it's not that hard to have a playful conversation. Just be 20% more interesting than the previous guy. Like a girl says she's a teacher and you can say, oh, well, actually, yeah, it kind of makes sense. I mean, you give me this vibe of a innocent girl that could be a teacher. And now she has to lean in. Okay, what do you mean? What do you mean I seem like an innocent girl? Now she's curious. You got her curiosity. She's leaning in. And you're spiking a bit more emotions because it's something to do with her identity. So where most guys go left, you go right. And it's just a very easy way to stand out. But again, to be playful is going to require for you to say more bold stuff. And again, if you have this fear, it's going to be very difficult to say that playful stuff, and you're going to resort to saying this boring stuff because it doesn't require you to get over that fear. And as you can see, with all of these examples, fear is the thing that is actually keeping you from going in and talking to women effectively. It's almost like a parasite that you have at the back of your neck that is always there, and you want to go and approach confidently. You can't because you have this fear. You want to show intent, but again, you can't because you have fear of getting rejected. And then you want to say something playful, but you resort to saying the boring stuff because you have fear of embarrassing yourself. So if you want to get better to talking to women, you have to get over that fear, not only of approaching them, but also of just being more playful and confident. And again, how do you get over that fear? Not by watching any videos, but by going in and having exposure to women. Exposure to approaching them, exposure to talking to them, exposure to showing intent. So you have to have that exposure, and bit by bit, just like going to the gym, that muscle is going to grow, and you're going to slowly be able to remove that parasite off your neck, off your back. With that parasite of fear, you will not go far when talking to women. And that's exactly why I built the community of Approach Mastery, to keep you accountable and to give you this opportunity to get this exposure with women. The only way to get that confidence, again, is with exposure. And in that community, we'll keep you accountable. You'll approach live with me. And week by week, you're going to get more confident, more charismatic, and removing that parasite bit by bit. First call is for free. Check out the first link in the description.